What's up, guys? This is inHaze, and welcome to the very first episode of the new custom map making series. Today I'm going to be covering single player commands. I have 12 different commands I've wrote down I want to go over that I use the most often when making my maps and I think are the most helpful out of the 100 or so commands that are available through SPC. So we're going to be going over that. I'll go into detail on how they work and what they're good for. But first I want to cover what mods I am actually using when I build maps. In-game mods, they are single player commands, world edit, the world edit CUI mod, which adds a red box around your selection. It makes things a lot easier if you're doing a lot of different selecting. Also, Optifine, because the graphics just look a lot better and it adds some different options in that menu. Also, too many items, because I'm always always in survival mode. I don't hardly ever use creative, and too many items just makes finding different things a lot easier. So you want to make sure to have world edit and single player commands, but the other three are pretty much optional. You can get by without them, but I highly recommend getting them because they make things a lot easier. So to get into this, I have 12 or so different commands here I want to go over. The first few are just the most basic single player commands, and they were pretty much what brought everybody, I think, to SPC before there ever was a creative mode. They're going to be the item command, the fly command, and the instant mine command. So to start, the fly command is just a simple FLY, fly, and you will be off. And that just sets you at the default speed, which is 1. You can also change your speed just by putting whatever number you want afterwards. So fly 20, and you're floating really fast. Just to turn it off, just fly again. I'll show you later on, but I highly recommend binding this to a key, like F perhaps. So you can just turn fly on and off with a single button. I have one for normal speed and then one for like a 10 speed. So you can just switch between them when you have keybinds like that. Makes it a lot easier. So that is the fly command. The next one is going to be the item command, which is just item and then the number of the block you want followed by the quantity. So 132 would give you 32 stone blocks, or you can type it in stone 1 and it added 1, so now we have 33. You can do item damage values with a colon. So 35.8 gave us light gray wool. Let's see. You don't have to even type item. You can just do I1. You don't even have to put a quantity. It'll give you a max stack. I just added it into that one. So that is the item command. It's helpful if you don't have, well, too many items, I guess, with creative mode. I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore about that command, but it's still nice to know. The second one, or third one, is going to be the instant mine, which is just the word instant and then mine combined together. It helps to spell it right. And that just turns on the instant block breaking, kind of like in creative mode, which will destroy everything with a single click except for bedrock. That still follows the normal game rules. So that is instant mine. The next command is going to be one of my, actually the next few are probably some of my most favorite commands out of single player commands. And they are noclip and light. Noclip allows you to go through any solid block like it was air, which makes finding caves, as you can see, a lot easier. Making caves a lot easier. I've used this a lot to embed redstone into like current landscape. You don't have to create a huge section and then try and lay it out and give you room to like walk around. You can actually place blocks and destroy blocks. You can interact with switches, buttons. You cannot interact with mobs or pressure plates, or you can't pick up items. Here, let me change it to day real quick. So you cannot, like here, see the item, you cannot pick it up, but you can still do pretty much everything else. and mobs won't even really acknowledge you. They won't attack you or anything like that. The next command is light, which goes hand in hand with noclip because it turns everything to maximum brightness, which makes seeing the caves with noclip a lot easier. And making caves, I should say. This is another one of my most favorite commands just because it's so useful in that fact that you don't have to light up anything like you would normally. Um, if you were in here normally and you want to do like terraforming, you would have to light all this up, but you don't have to with that command. So noclip and light, those are really nice commands to know. Let's see, the next command is going to be the damage command, which, like it sounds, let me turn noclip off real quick, which, like it sounds, turns off all damage. That means fall damage, lava damage, suffocation damage, mob damage, everything. So with no damage, there's pretty much no way of dying. Even if you fall into the void, you'll just keep falling forever because there's no damage. It won't let you take anything. Which is nice if you want to have mobs present but don't really want them to hurt you, or if you're building and just don't want anything killing you at all. It's really nice. So yeah. Arrows will still knock you back, and mobs will still knock you around, but they won't cause any damage to you at all, which is kind of fun. Kind of nice for making maps. So the next command kind of ties in with mobs is the freeze command. That freeze, oh, there we go. I was stuck there. It freezes any mobs currently in the game, so they can't move around at all. This is aggressive mobs and passive mobs. So let's say you set down a whole bunch of NPCs, you're making a map, and you don't want them wandering around too much. Before you release the map while you're still working on it, you can use the freeze command to make sure they're going to be staying in the exact spot you put them in. That's one way I've used them before. So that's kind of nice. You turn it off just with the same thing, freeze, and they're walking again, trying to get you. But they can't because I have no damage. So that is, let's see, where am I at? I have these listed, but I got the numbering all screwed up. Okay, that was damage. Now or no, that was freeze, sorry. Now we're on to the drop command, which turns pretty much all the drops. Oh, look at a spawner. That makes it so no, let me just, here. That was a little quick alias command. I'll show you that later on. The drops command is what I want to show you. That will make it so no blocks drop at all, which in some cases when you're making a map and if you're using like a lot of TNT or something, it will drop a lot of blocks, and if you have enough, it will really lag things up. So just turning that off when you're making maps just makes things run a lot smoother. You don't have all these annoying little floating blocks everywhere. It just is generally a good idea to do, unless you're working with dispensers, and then you have to turn it on because it also stops dispensers from putting out items too. So, yeah. Okay, the next one is going to be infinite items. That will make it so, kind of like creative mode, it will just make it so everything you have is always at its max stack. Every item you pick up, let me turn drops back on. Every item you pick up, like chocolate beans, if I turn on infinite items, it's kind of a pain to type. See, it automatically stacks all that to 64, and then even when I get like a single stack, everything you get, it just automatically stacks, and then when you use it, it keeps that stack. So that is infinite items. It can be kind of annoying sometimes if you have drops on. Let me show you something real quick, because just any single block will automatically take up one. Did I not turn drops back on? Oh, whoops. Turn it off. It'll make it so any single block will automatically fill up a whole slot in your inventory. So if you're like breaking a whole bunch of different things, I mean, Like I have a full inventory already just because it's automatically stacking that stuff up. So moving on. I want to make this video not 30 minutes long. Where am I? Okay, the next two are really nice in making typing long items or very commonly used items a lot faster, and they are alias command and the bind command. Alias allows you to take any normal command in game and shorten it down to like a little phrase or just a little combination of characters. Like for infinite items, I use II, and that just allows it to turn on and off. And the way you do that is just use alias or /alias or just alias what your little phrase is going to be. Like let's say I use one for setting the time of day, which I just use TD time day. I use that. The first part is what you want your little phrase to be. So you put TD and then space and then what your actual command you want it to execute when you type that is going to be. So I want to be time set hour 0. That's exactly what I already have set up. So we use that. It says alias TD successfully assigned to time set hour 0. So when you set TD, you can see at the bottom day 0 at 000. So I mean, now all you have to do if you want it to be day is just type in TD enter instead of time set hour 0. And that can be used on any single player command or world edit command. I have a whole bunch set up for all sorts of different things, like setting up predefined brushes just to make it a little bit faster. I can't think of some of them right now, but yeah, I have a whole bunch of them set up. So that's alias command. The next is keybind command, which is kind of like alias, except when you press a button, it will automatically execute whatever commands you want. So a good example of this is the command is just bind, and you just use a letter, or if you use the command bind ID, you can use a key code character ID number, which you can get out the single player commands forum page. But I find it to be a little buggy sometimes. It doesn't really match up or doesn't really work fully for me, so I don't know. It may work for you. You'll have to just try it out. But the normal command is just /bind. You type in what key you want, which is bind T. That's like a temporary one I use. I switch it out a lot. So we'll use the T button, and I'm just going to do the cannon command of single player commands, which just shoots out a TNT. So I bind that to T, and now when I press T, it shoots out a TNT at the speed of 5. And you can just spam this all day if you want. This is actually can be a fun way of terraforming or just making like caves. You can just shoot off a whole bunch of TNT and just like work your way, like spam it around. So that makes using the same command, if you have to, a lot, like something like that. You can just, where you just have to spam it, you can just bind anything to a single key, and it makes it a lot faster. You can also set up macros so you can have a whole sequence of commands executed just by pressing one key, which isn't like, I mean, you don't have to use that all that often, but I've found it very useful in a couple different scenarios when I've been making maps or testing out ideas. So that is the alias and bind command. Very important to use if you're like typing out the same command over and over, or long commands that are just a pain to type. So get to know those two. The next one is going to be the reach command, which is very helpful. It allows you to place or destroy blocks at pretty much any distance you want. Instead of like the normal 3 or 4 limit you have, you can just type in reach 100 and you will be able to reach 100 blocks away. Like look, I can just build that far away and just like spam it all the way here. Or you can just destroy it the same way. It's really helpful when you're using the world edit wand if you want to just select a point that's kind of far away. You don't want to have to get real up close or it's just helpful in general to use the reach command. So that's again just a simple REACH, and then the distance you want it to be. Okay, the next one is going to be the one that I don't think many people know about, which is the time speed command. There's a couple features I've found with this that can be really helpful in making maps or just doing a couple different things. I'll show the first one right here just by blocking this water off. You can see how fast that water is going down. Now if let me get rid of some of this junk, put some more water back up around here. Oops, I forgot I used still water. Hold on. I was wondering what the heck was going on. Let that go down. And I'll show you the time speed command. It will, the normal thing it does, it changes the passage of time, like how fast the days elapse in the game, which I'll show you in a second. Actually shows the sun, it flies by. But this is another feature I found that works with it that I had never really found it was documented or anything, but it's really cool. So if you set time speed, let's do, we'll just do 0. Time speed 0. What the heck? Oh, now I'm spacing out. Why isn't this working? I have a keybind normally to use this. I just use normally T as 0. Oh, maybe it's, hold on. Oh, okay, it's just time space speed. Sorry about that. Normally I used to use my alias, and I forgot what the full command was. So it's just time space speed. So if you want it back to normal, it's just 1. Okay, but I want to show you 0. It basically makes it so lava and water, they will flow still, but it will be very, very slow in how fast it goes. It also, let me get rid of another one of these. It also makes it so sand and gravel do not fall. Like, it does not apply the actual physics to make them fall like normal. But if you set that back here, we'll just do it full time speed. 1, boom, there it goes. Now you can see, and that gravel's falling. This water is starting to come down now. This water's starting to go. Now, let's say you had a whole bunch of water. You just want to clear it out fast. Time speed 20. Now look how fast that's going down. It doesn't really affect the sand speed. And it doesn't affect lava too much really, just because lava is really slow to begin with. But, well, sometimes it does. That one was pretty fast. That's what happens at time speed 20. Now let's noclip to our ceiling here. And this is what the actual world looks like at time speed 20. As you can see, it's moving by really quickly. And since I have my light command on, it's actually night right now. Let's bump that up to even faster. Let's see if we can get sick. There's 50. So let's, just for fun, let's do 200. And that's what 200, oh yeah, that can make you sick pretty fast. That's what 200 normal speed does. Time speed 0 will make it so the time never changes. It will always be whatever time you set that at, or you use it at. I want to note though, using this time speed command, or even setting different times in game with single player commands, I notice can temporarily affect how certain redstone devices work. Especially like within the area you're working at, or if you're working on a certain one, it will make it act really funky for a while, and you might have to like switch blocks out or reset it until, I mean, I don't know what causes it, but Yeah, you have to watch that. But other than that, time speed is really nice. Let me show you really cool. I'll just platform. Cool trick I found for it. Let me just set something up here real quick. Oops. I don't know why that. Okay, there we go. Time speed 0. Oh, sorry about this. It's taking longer than I thought. See, do stuff like that, and then set it to 1 and. Now it looks like it's just a graphic error. The block's not actually even there. So that is the basics of single player commands. There's a lot of other commands I use, but I don't use them nearly as often as the ones I just went over. So I will go over more advanced advanced commands at another point. There's still so many more to cover. The next episode will probably be covering the basics of world edit and how to set brushes and selections and just the most basic items of that. But this concludes the very first episode. I haven't checked the time. I hope this thing isn't like an hour long, but hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a comment in the description. I hope this was helpful to people. If it was, let me know. Also leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.